Welcome back. Today's lesson is Writing 6B Part 1. So please get your students' books and workbooks ready. Today we have three objectives. Number 1, identify the purpose of a text after skimming. Number 2, demonstrate understanding of the features of a discussion essay by answering a set of questions. And number 3, analyze a text in terms of linking words. Do you know these famous sportsmen? Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafael Nadal, and Mu'taz Bersham. Let's match them with their sports: football, high jump, and tennis. So number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo plays football. Good. Rafael Nadal? Excellent. He plays tennis. What about Mu'taz Bersham? He does high jump. So how do we call these famous sportsmen? Very good. So they are professional athletes. What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a professional athlete? I wanted to pick out 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. So please pause the video and try to think. Alright, so the first advantage, excellent. So we have being rich. You can be rich if you are a famous sportsman. Alright, after that, you can be famous. Everybody will know you and everybody will recognize you when you are passing by the street or anywhere you go. Alright, now what about the disadvantages? Very good. So you can be injured anytime when you are practicing that sport. Or it demands hard work. It's not easy to become a professional athlete. Very good. Dear students, it's time to open the student book on page 80. I want you to read the text and say what it is about. Pause the video and we will come back. Alright, so what is the main idea of the text? Excellent. The text is about discussing the advantages and the disadvantages of being a professional athlete. Now, I want you to read the essay a student wrote and answer the questions that follow. So we have the essay here, and here we have the questions. So you are going to answer the following one. In which paragraph does the writer do the following? So you are going to write the numbers 1 to 4, then give examples from the essay. We have A, B, C, D, E, and F. And you are going to put the right number. Alright, so in which paragraph does the writer present advantages? Pause the video and try to answer. Okay, so that was in paragraph 2. Very good. Now, can you tell me what advantages did he mention? Good. So the first one, earn a huge income. Then enjoy fame and travel around the world. Very good. So that's why we are going to analyze the second paragraph. Let's start with the first sentence. It is not difficult to see the benefits of becoming a professional athlete. So this is what we call the topic sentence. Very good. After that, we have the first argument. Very good. Argument number 1. And then you mention argument number 2. And we already discussed these arguments in the beginning. And finally, we have argument number 3. All right, let's move on to the next question. In which paragraph does the writer introduce the topic? Pause the video and try to answer. Okay, let's answer. So that was in paragraph 1. Very good. Okay, and here he introduced the topic and he mentioned the word athlete and professional athlete. And he said that it has pros and cons. Okay, question C. In which paragraph does the writer present disadvantages? Pause the video please and try to answer. So that was in paragraph 3. Excellent. So that's why we are going to look at the disadvantages. How many of them are there? Excellent, 4. So number 1, the first disadvantage is the huge amount of stress. After that, the time and energy to demanding training. Then the family life becomes difficult. And finally, the injuries. Excellent. Now we are going to analyze this third paragraph, which is normally the paragraph of the disadvantages. So let's follow together. So first of all, as usual, we have the topic sentence, which is in the beginning of each body paragraph. Very good. Now we have to list the arguments from 1 to 4 if you have 4, or from 1 to 3 if you have 3. So here we have the first argument, all right? Then we have the second argument. As I would need to devote all my time and energy to demanding training, I would not have much spare time. After that, the third argument, extensive travel would make family life difficult. Very good. And the final argument is, there is the issue of injuries. If I got seriously injured, it could mean the end of my career. Excellent job. That was argument 4. All right, now question D. In which paragraph does the writer make a general statement and state his or her opinion? Pause the video and try to answer. Okay, so that was in paragraph 4. Excellent. And here we have, becoming a professional athlete is difficult but rewarding. So here that's the general statement. Also, he mentioned his opinion. Personally, I believe the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So we have personally, which means a personal opinion. Okay, now question E. In which paragraph does the writer use a rhetorical question? First, let's say what is a rhetorical question. It's a question that doesn't need an answer, but it's there to enrich our paragraph or to make our paragraph more interesting. Okay, so in which paragraph can you find the rhetorical question? Excellent. That was in the last paragraph also, paragraph number 4. So here is the rhetorical question. Is becoming a professional athlete worth all the difficulties? Of course, we are not waiting for an answer. We are addressing the reader to let him be in the text and let him be focused with the writer. Okay, that's why we are going to analyze the fourth paragraph. So what do we have in the beginning? As we already said, is becoming a professional athlete worth all the difficulties? This is the rhetorical question. Very good. After that, you mention the personal opinion. Personally, I believe the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And then you have to mention the general statement and restate the both sides. Okay, good. Let's move on to question F. In which paragraph does the writer address the reader directly? What does it mean directly? It means you have to mention the pronoun you. All right, so that was in paragraph 1. Very good. And here we have the sentence, have you ever dreamt of becoming a professional athlete? So we have you. Why do we address the reader directly? To make him involved in our essay, to attract his attention. Very good. All right, now let's analyze the first paragraph. So we said that in the beginning we have addressing the reader directly. After that, how do we call this sentence? Becoming a professional athlete seems quite appealing to me, but it requires a lot of talent, effort, and devotion. This is presenting the topic very simply. And finally, you have to tell the two sides. You have to state that there are pros and cons, or that there are advantages and disadvantages. All right, now let's recapitulate. What are the features of an essay discussing advantages and disadvantages? First, we have the layout. In paragraph 1, you should introduce the topic. In paragraph 2, you have to present the advantages. In paragraph 3, you have to present the disadvantages. And finally, in paragraph 4, you have to make a general statement and state your opinion. Okay, apart from the layout, we have seen techniques such as address the reader directly in paragraph 1, as we have seen. Have you ever dreamt of becoming a professional athlete? Also, you can use a rhetorical question, as we have seen in paragraph 4. For example, is becoming a professional athlete worth all the difficulties? Of course, we don't need an answer. All right. Now, does the writer use formal or informal language? And this is very important to bear in mind, please. Let's see what is informal language and what is formal language. First, in the informal language, we have informal vocabulary. But in formal language, we have formal vocabulary. In the informal language, we have the use of contractions, but in the formal language, no contractions. Also, we have the abbreviations in the informal language. In the formal language, no abbreviations. And finally, informal linkers for informal language. But in the formal language, of course, we have formal linkers. So which one did the writer use? Excellent. He used the formal language and he didn't use the informal language. So, for example, formal vocabulary, the writer used requires. If it was an informal word, how would it be? It would be needs. But here we have formal vocabulary, so that's why he chose the word requires. Okay, what about the example of contractions? For example, we have it is not, and the writer did not use it isn't. What about the abbreviations? So no abbreviations in the formal language. The writer used professional, a full form of the word. He didn't say a pro. And what about the formal linkers? Moreover, this is a formal linker. If it was an informal essay, he would have used plus. All right. Now, question C on the student's book on page 81. Look at the highlighted words, phrases in the essay and use them to complete the table below. Now, as you can see, the color used is yellow. So these are highlighted linkers. Let's have a look at the types of linkers we can use in a discussion essay. First, we have listing or adding points. After that, expressing contrast. And finally, summing up linkers. Now let's start with number 1. To begin with, which kind of linker is it? Excellent, that's the linker of listing. And also we have, first of all, in the first place, what is more, furthermore, apart from that, also, finally, lastly, okay, and we are going to fill in the blanks with the other linkers. All right, so linker number 2, In addition, this is also a listing linker. After that, moreover, this is a listing linker. Very good. Now, what about however? Is it listing linker? Look at in which paragraph it's used. It's used in paragraph number 3. So the beginning of the disadvantages. Very good. So in the beginning of the disadvantages, I have to use a linker of contrast. So here, however, but, on the other hand, these are linkers of contrast. All right. The next one we have firstly, which is a linker of listing. Good. What about secondly? Very good. Another linker of listing. Besides that, the same, another linker of listing. And last but not least is a final linker of listing. All right. Now, what about on the whole here? Excellent. This is to sum up, and this is in the final paragraph. All right. So we have to sum up, in conclusion, and all in all. And we add on the whole. All right. Now, what are the 10 truths about the discussion essay? Okay. So how many paragraphs are there? Let's recapitulate everything we have seen today. So how many paragraphs? 4 paragraphs. Good. What is the first paragraph about? It's about introducing the topic. What about paragraph 2? It's about presenting the advantages. What about paragraph 3? It's about presenting the disadvantages. Paragraph 4? It's about making general statement plus opinion. Okay, now what language style should be used? Excellent, the formal language style. What technique can be used in paragraph 1? We have seen the technique of addressing the reader directly. Good. What about the technique used in paragraph 4? We can use the rhetorical question. Excellent. Now, what are the 3 types of linkers that can be used? Listing, contrasting, and summarizing. Very good. Which tense is used? So remember to use the present tense. Excellent.